Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ann Arbor District Library. My name is Journey, and I'm your library staff host for tonight's talk with Greg Harden. The summer game is almost done, but you can still participate until the 27th. There are plenty of events that you can find in our brochure here, including the Game Over Gala that's happening on that day, the 27th, where you can get plenty of extra points if you are participating in the summer game. If you are still in need of extra points right this minute, we do have a code for tonight's event posted on the brick wall back near the entryway. If you need to go to the bathroom during this event, there are men's and women's bathrooms on the other side of the entryway, and we also have family and gender-neutral bathrooms in the youth area. If you're in need of a hearing assistance device, we can help you in the back of the lobby. Our speaker tonight, Greg Harden, is a peak performance coach, motivational speaker, and executive consultant who is best known for his work with 7-time Super Bowl champion quarterback Tom Brady. He's also worked with the Heisman Trophy winner and Super Bowl MVP Desmond and 23 Olympic gold medalist Michael Phelps. Of course, many in our audience are familiar with his time at the University of Michigan. He is here at the Ann Arbor Library tonight to launch his book, Stay Sane in an Insane World: How to Control the Controllables and Thrive. There will be a Q&A as well as a signing with books for sale after the talk tonight. At this time, we ask you to please silence your devices, sit back, and join me in welcoming Greg Harden. Come on, folks.
Thank you, Journey. Appreciate you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm kind of overwhelmed by all this, and I need to be real clear that this is not what I expected to be doing at this stage in life. But I appreciate the fact that you're interested, and I hope I can keep you interested and make you buy books for all your family and friends. I've had the privilege of working with people for quite a few years, and it's been a joy. It's been an unbelievable undertaking. I had no idea that I would do anything like this. As a matter of fact, I was clear what I was going to do. I was going to be in radio, television, and film. However, God has a sense of humor. And he said, no, you're going to be a social worker. What? And it turned into an unbelievable adventure because I get paid. I got paid to help people believe in themselves, to begin to trust themselves, to begin to believe that without question or pause, the best friend they have in life should be them. That's what I did for a living. Get out. Think about it. What a grand opportunity. What I want to talk about is this book, and I hope that you guys understand that this is not about Tom Brady. It's not about Desmond Howard. It's not about Michael Phelps. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about you. And what I teach anyone that will listen, and I tell you, I have the nerve to expect people to actually listen. I'm going to teach people in any way that I can to become the world's greatest expert on one subject. Say it. Come on. Think about it. There's no class like there's no class. You stumble and bumble, and until you figure out that you need to know yourself better than everyone else, life is quite a struggle. And so what I try to teach and what this book represents is an opportunity to teach people to have the skills to do self-assessment, self-evaluation, right? To increase their self-awareness. Now, the popular terminology now is mindfulness, to teach people how to breathe and to stop underestimating, the impact of being able to breathe and to slow yourself down and get into a rhythm, to change your rhythm on purpose, to be deliberate and intentional about changing the energy. That's what I teach. But most importantly, I teach you how, you've heard over and over, right? Where I just want to be the best version of myself. That's what you're going to be. If you buy this product, no, right? But how do you really do that? How can you be deliberate and intentional about becoming the best version of yourself? By knowing yourself better than anyone else, being able to identify what's working in your life and what's not working. What attitudes, what behaviors do I need to examine? What do I need to improve on? What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to continue to do? How do I need to stop thinking? How do I need to start thinking, especially about me? I also teach, and I'll be honest with you, I'll push and pull and drag you if I have to, towards a self self discipline, self discipline, and self motivation. We all love having someone that can motivate us. If you can't motivate yourself, we got issues. We've got some serious problems. You've got to turn yourself into a machine that actually can motivate itself. And then I suggest that as we talk about self discipline, self motivation, self control, you're pursuing self mastery. That's all. And that sounds big and self mastery. It's not that deep. How do I think and how do I act? Is my thinking and my attitude supporting me in my dreams? There's some there's some big dreams in this room. There's some big dreams. There's some stories in this room that would break your heart. Am I right or wrong? So what we have to do is become so sophisticated that we decide to turn ourselves into someone capable of identifying what's working and what's not working. And then if I look at myself and I see something I don't like, I can change. Think about that. The only creature that I am aware of on this earth that can decide that I'm not going to be the same today as I was yesterday is a human being. See, a cow gonna be a cow every day, all day. Dog gonna be a dog, a lion, right? But a human being can absolutely decide, I really need to consider shifting, changing, adapting. That's a unique characteristic. And it's what I push in this book. The third thing that I'd like to make sure you understand that I want to introduce you to a lot of peak performers from all walks of life. So, I mean, Tom Brady, forward, that's the hook. Hello. That's like, consider thinking about what I'm saying. But I'll introduce you to the idea of getting a person who you don't even have to know football. You know Tom Brady, prettiest white man in America with a dimple in his chin. Think about it. We know who he is and we know what he's accomplished. You'll get a clue about what it was like to work with Desmond Howard. Heisman Trophy. You know he was special teams, right? On the Suicide Squad. For those of you who don't know football, it's a Suicide Squad that he was on, right? Catching the kickoff and taking off. But did you know that he was MVP of the Super Bowl? Who on special teams is going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl? Desmond Howard. You've noticed that if you've seen Desmond, he is now a sportscaster for ESPN, College Game Day. Everything the boy touched turns to gold. Why? What is it about the way he thinks and the way he operates? Why is everything he's touching turning into gold? We'll talk about that. And then Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, great story about Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, I don't know Michael Phelps is going to be in Ann Arbor. We hired Bob Bowman. Who the heck is Bob Bowman? Bob Bowman is a swim coach. We chose Bob Bowman to be our swim coach for the men's team. And Bob says, okay, Michael, we're going to Ann Arbor. So he shows up and he says, oh, this is Michael Phelps. True story. Michael Phelps is stunned that we don't care that you're Michael Phelps. Come on, sit down, grab a seat. You know, how you doing? Where you been? Who are you? Right? But it worked for Michael Phelps. It works for people. And then you'll meet people that you've never heard of. And they'll be talking about how we train them to what? Normalize the concept of fear. Fear and self-doubt is the greatest enemy any of us have ever faced. And you've faced some enemies and some obstacles and some trials and tribulations, but fear and self-doubt is the enemy. So we teach people to anticipate that being afraid sometimes makes sense. Right? Some of the great, look, I know, like in this crowd, I probably know about 15% of the people. There's 85% of the folks I do not know. Am I right or wrong? Imagine this. I believe every one of you, some of the most exciting adventures you've ever been on, some of the most fun you've ever had, you were about to crap your pants before you took off. Am I right or wrong? So we can anticipate and begin to expect that anxiety is part of it. We can turn anxiety, there's a thin line between anxiety and excitement. As a matter of fact, physiologically speaking, the body is going to react pretty much the same. And we have to decide how we're going to process. So what we teach is not tell people, be fearless. That's a wonderful phrase. However, be careful being fearless. Drunks and fools are pretty good at that. But think about it. If I tell you to stop being afraid, I have to tell you, stop being afraid of being afraid. Fear is normal. It's part of life. And we all have to encounter it, and we can turn it into something else. We talk about controlling the controllables, which is part of the title, how to commit over and over each day to get out of your own way, right? We talk about becoming the world's greatest expert on you know what. And then we ask you to do something that is kind of difficult for some of you. It certainly was a challenge for me to perfect a commitment to self-love and self-acceptance. That's what's in this book. That's what we're going to be talking about. There's some people in this room, the best friend you could ever have in your life, but they're not the best friend they've ever had. So that's what this book is all about. That's what we'll be talking about. And I mean, I had the greatest job in the world. So you're going to pay me to make people believe in themselves. Get out. Thank you so much. You need to be clear that my wife said I did well. Shalia M. Harden, wave at the people.
This point in time, we do have a microphone set up in the back of the lobby. If you are interested in asking any questions of Greg Harden, please line up formally and carefully, and don't push and shove in a football manner. As you come up to the microphone, just state your name and your question. Thank you so much.
Okay, no questions. All right. It was Montgomery.
Hello. Hi, Greg.
Hello.
As I mentioned to you before, I've already bought 2 of your books, read one of them, and gave it away to a friend last night. So amazing book. So thank you so much for writing it.
Thank you.
The question I have, you write a lot about the successes you've had with the people that you worked with. And sometimes there's people who you know you could help, but they don't take advantage of the opportunity, so to speak, right? So what techniques do you have to be able to reach out to those people?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. The best clients I have, and I'll be straight with you, are the ones that say, "Can you help me?" Yes. The ones that sometimes need help, the ones who are struggling mightily, and they're the last ones that want to come in. So what I share with a lot of people is like asking for help is an art form. And I teach them how to perfect it and to just understand. And I give them data. Hello. I give them data telling them that the people that they admire and respect have all had mentors. They've all, some of the richest people you've ever heard of use consultants. So what I try to teach people to understand is that at some point in your life, you need to surrender the ego. And you teach them about how to surrender the ego and how valuable a skill that can be. Because there are a lot of people who need help. But you also have to teach people that it's predictable, therefore manageable, that you're going to not want to ask for help. I am a professional helper. I hate asking for help. I had to retrain and reprogram myself completely. My father told me a very simple thing when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I went out into the yard and said, "Pops, can I help?" And my dad looked at me and he said, "Boy, if you see me in a bear fight." A what? "If you see me in a bear fight, don't help me, help the bear." So at 80 years old, I understood clearly nothing. But as time went on and he repeated that story, I began to be real clear that a man, what? Don't ask for help. I had to deprogram and reprogram myself. And you will teach people how to deprogram and reprogram their attitude about asking for help. You'll tell them it's predictable. You've seen it before. And then there'll be people who come and say, "You're the best counselor, the best support system I've ever had." And then when they're in trouble, won't come see you. Why is that? Guilt, shame, and embarrassment. Duh. I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't want to let you down. You've got to tell them it's predictable, therefore manageable. You've got to tell them that it makes total sense and that you're counting on them. When you don't want to come see me, that's when you should probably come. And you got to check in over and over, especially when you think they're doing well. Don't fall for it. Because you know what I'm talking about. But they were doing so well. And last time I talked to them, everything was going good. They may have been lying. You're going to have to dig a little deeper. Thank you.
My name is David Walker. I've also read the book. I thought it was phenomenal. Could you tell the story at the very beginning about how Bo Schembechler wanted you to address the team and how you sort of put it right back to him and that sort of launched yourself? I think it says a lot about you, but also the respect that Bo had very quickly for what you had to accomplish.
Thank you, Bo. I was identified by some healthcare member of the staff as someone who might be able to do a decent job talking to young people about alcohol and drugs. So they called me and said, "We want you to come and speak to the University of Michigan football team about alcohol and drugs." And I said, well, tell me what you have in mind. It's a 20, 30-minute speech about alcohol and drugs. I say, and how does that affect, how are you expecting that to affect? It doesn't work. 18 to 22-year-olds know more about alcohol and drugs than I do. So, and I've done it before, and the outcome is not exactly what I had in mind. So what I'm going to share with you is like, I appreciate you calling, but no, I'll give you the names of some folks that will probably be excited. Yeah, but this is Michigan. I went to Michigan. But it's Michigan football. I love Michigan football. Then why aren't you coming? Because you're going to mark off a box and say, we had a lecturer. And if that's not what you're going to do, tell me what you're going to do. If I came in and gave a grand old speech and two guys raised their hand and said, oh my God, I need to change my lifestyle, what would happen to them? If you can't tell me what would happen to that kid and how you will make decisions about that kid, I can't help you. So again, thanks for calling. 2 weeks later, ring, ring, yes. Bo Schembechler alert. What? What? Say that name again. Bo Schembechler wants to meet you. Well, I'm kind of young and full of myself. I want to meet him. As a matter of fact, I've got 21 questions for him. I'll come in and we can process what I told you about and why I know why he wants to meet me. He needs to tell me what would happen, and I'll be there. And I'm so stupid. I set up a kangaroo court. I said, not only do I want Schembechler there, I want the sport administrator, the team physician. I want the athletic. I went on and on about who I wanted there. I get there. It's 7, 8 people, all over 50 and fairly pale in their complexion and a tad bit irritated. And I walk in, I still got 21 questions. And they said, Bo, this is Harden. He's going to tell you about his program. So I had to come up with a program in a matter of seconds and challenge how they were approaching it and suggest this is how I would approach it. And then 34 years later, they went from being a client into an employer. And it was the best client I had had for 8 years. That's how that happened. Thanks for that question.
Do we have any more questions in the audience? Come on my way. You can take the microphone over from me.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name's Zachary Micklea. I just want to say, thank you so much for writing this book. It's no small feat to do that. I've read it once, almost twice. And
You need to get closer to that mic, young man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name's Zachary Micklea. And my question is, are there some qualities or characteristics of the individuals that you've noticed over the years that have gone on to develop leadership roles at Michigan and be like the best teammates, things of that nature? What are some characteristics that you've noticed in these individuals?
Zach, thank you for that question. By the way, I know that young man, and he is currently, are you interning or? This boy is a genius, by the way. And the question is, what are the characteristics of those who go to the top? Is that simplifying it enough? All right. Well, there are a lot of characteristics that we could come up with, and I'm going to give you 2. They were hungry. They were some of the hungriest people you will ever meet. Their passion and the fire to be the best was in their bones. But they were also hungry and humble. It takes humility to be coachable, to learn, to grow, to allow someone else to help you. You have to be able to check yourself. You've got to be able to check your own ego at the door and say, check your ego. You can have it on your way out, okay? And if your ego is going to be your ally, bring it on in. But if it's going to stand in the way of you accepting and receiving support and advice, those people who went to the next level, as far as I could tell, not only were they hungry, they were humble.
Good evening. My name is Yvonne Stevens, and I have a couple of questions for you.
Couple?
So you had mentioned that you didn't start out with your career to be a coach. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your what you did in life. And the second question is, if there are people in this audience that are hungry and humble, what would we have to do to hire you to be our coach?
You're good. I forgot the first one after that one. That was good. Thank you. I appreciate you. Your first question was what now? Oh, I tried to forget that, didn't I? Okay, so technically, and for the record, I was a wild and untamed thing, a bee with a deadly sting. I was something special. And I was indulging in self-defeating attitudes and behaviors. But for some odd reason, people would always ask me for advice. You are one of those people. Lionel Milton, ladies and gentlemen, who's in the book. One of the stories in the book is that young man right there. Lionel, wave at the people. So for some odd reason, people would ask me for advice and for support. And opinions, don't get me started on that. And I was real excited about, hey, this is what I would do. And one day, my life was at the worst spot it had ever been. I mean, it was not good. And I was getting out of town. That's how bad my life was. And I had a going away party because I'm that guy. I had the biggest going away party of all time. And a guy walked up to me and says, Gee, you know, you my guy. Could you loan me $1,500? I'm broke. Like I had never been broke before, but what I projected was I was a rich man, rich and powerful. And I said, oh. The same night, another guy walks up to me and he says, G, and he's slightly under the influence. And he says, G, you that guy, well, you my guy. I don't just want to be like you. I want to be you. And the worst day of my life. He wants to be me. Well, I get on the plane and I can't help but think about how bizarre is it that I'm at the worst stage in my life and people still are thinking I should tell them what to do. I say, perhaps I should stop just giving my opinion and train myself to actually know what to say to people. And it triggered wanting to be a helper because I was helping people already. And I think I was giving good advice. I wasn't following it. But I said to God, this is a true story. I said, if I live to see 25, there must be some purpose. There must be something I'm supposed to do. And so I turned 25. Oops, I made a promise. And so I immediately said, well, I need purpose. And I suddenly discovered my first purpose was the pursuit of purpose. I turned seeking a purpose into my first concrete sense of awareness that I needed purpose. The next thing you know, I'm a professional helper, helping people out, doing the best I can with what I've got. And it's been a blast. It's been a grand adventure. So now,
Hey,
I
Greg.
appreciate your question.
My name is Jeff Allen. I read the book
Here we go.
a couple of years ago
I'm sorry,
because of my connection.
Excuse me. She reminded me that I didn't go to part 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There really
Multi-questions.
is a gregharden.com. There really is a website. I know some of y'all are old enough to appreciate websites because they're ancient already and antiques. But I have a website and I have all kinds of people in my life who try to help me help people. All right. Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no worries. Was there a third part? My name is Jeff Allen. I read the book a couple of years ago because of my connection with Steve Hamilton, who's plays a little role in helping Greg out with this book. But I know that one of your gigs is a consultant with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's a pressure cooker to step into. I wondered if you can comment on how that job is going.
Look, that's true. It is a pressure cooker. For those of you who don't know hockey, and for those of you who don't know Canada, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the New York Yankees of Canada. And the owners, 3 of them are mega millionaires who happen to be in marketing and promotions. So they sell themselves constantly. And it's an amazing environment. And the athletes are superb. And they have hired some of the greatest people. And I had this guy call me saying, could you come and work for the Maple Leafs? I say, I don't work anymore. Well, but we won't use all your, we just need a little bit. I said, no, you're talking about a job, son. Them days are gone. So he said, well, what can we do? I said, have your people call my people and perhaps they can figure something out. And I'm clowning because I don't care. The next thing I know, these guys make an offer that says, how soon can we see you? But the offer doesn't matter unless I like the people. They were so together and they were so advanced in their thing. Hockey? Hockey? Hockey is talking about seeing their players in the pros as whole people. So I had to convince them immediately, if I come, it doesn't mean you'll win tomorrow. But what I can do, I think you'll appreciate. And it's been a great relationship. It's been unbelievable. Some of the greatest people I've ever met. And I've had a ball. And, I've had 2 years working with the staff, and there's a new general manager, so we'll see. Thank you for the question.
Hi, Greg. I purchased your book this evening, and my wife and I look forward to reading it. I have a question. You may have answered in the book, so forgive me if you did. Through all of your work with everyone, through all of the self-development that those people have gone through, I'm curious, my question is actually more about you, which is, what is the most important thing you've learned about yourself through this entire journey of helping others?
Thank you. I've learned about myself that without purpose, life has no meaning. Without a pursuit of purpose, without a commitment to someone else in your life, life is amazing, but love is better. You understand? So that's what I've learned. And then what does that really mean? Self-love and self-acceptance was the greatest challenge in my life. I was quite a treat. And I looked for love in all the wrong places. And I learned to begin to consider perhaps I should care more about myself and then all these things and all this hype and all this nonsense that people are feeding me. Because we all know some people who are richer than anyone you've ever met in your life, or powerful, and they take their own life, and you can't figure out why. They had everything you thought everyone wanted, but their self-loathing and depression broke them down. So I refused to be one of those people, and I began to pursue what would make me happy. What would bring me joy? And that's what I did, and that's what I learned, and I hope it makes sense.
Hello, Greg. That was a great presentation today.
Thank you.
You talked about Tom Brady. He wasn't always Tom Brady. He wasn't even varsity.
Come on.
He had to battle. So what was it that allowed him to battle to even be the starting quarterback? And then with Michael Phelps, he had self-esteem and doubt issues. What was it that you said to both of them to get them to massively believe in themselves so they could step up and reach their greatness?
Is that John?
Yes.
Big John, ladies and gentlemen, Big John. Thank you for that question. What do you say to a 19-year-old Tom Brady? What do you say to who's done nothing? The most, and he comes into your office and he's seen what Desmond did, and he says, I need some of that. So he said, oh, come on, have a seat. And he said, I want to be the starting quarterback at Michigan. And I said, ooh, you want me to blow smoke up your behind? I said, I can't do that, son. That's not what I do. That's not my role. That's not my lane. But I can help you believe, if no one else believes in you, that you can do anything. He said, let's start there. So what do you tell a Tom Brady? The first thing you're going to tell a Tom Brady, and anyone in this room or anyone that'll listen to me, you've got, Tom, you've got to decide, with or without football. Your life is going to be amazing. Can you imagine sitting with somebody telling you that your whole dream is football? You got a scholarship. What did you say? I said, you've got to decide with or without football, your life is going to be amazing. What am I saying to you, Tom? Tom's so smart. He processed for a second. You're telling me that I'm more than a football player. I said, go on. You're telling me that football is what I do. It's not who I am. I said, boy, you all right. What's your name again? I'm serious. You know I am. I'm funny, but you know I'm serious, right? Think about that. So what do you tell? I've said that to hockey players. I said it to water polo. I said it to people whose names you'll never know. I said it to it. I'm an attorney and I'm a millionaire and I'm running a huge, you got to decide with or without being a CEO, with or without all that cash. You've got to decide your life is worth living and it's going to be amazing. And that doesn't mean it has to be this big. You could be an amazing parent. You can be an amazing spouse. You can be an amazing friend. Once you decide that you're going to love yourself, flaws and all, you straight. Make sense, John?
It does. Thank you.
My man. Thank you, guys.
Over here. And he's going to take signing opportunities. So if you would like to line up in front of the table, you may also purchase his book from Literati Bookstore right next to his signing table. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.